Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
If you've ever dreamed of quitting your job to take your side hustle full-time, listen up. This is Nicaila Matthews-Okome, host of Side Hustle Pro, a podcast that helps you build and grow from passion project to profitable business. Every week, you'll hear from guests just like you who wanted to start a business on the side.
If you can't run a side hustle, you can't run a business.
They share real tips.
And so I started connecting with all these people on LinkedIn, and I saw Target Supplier Diversity was having office hours.
Real advice.
Procrastination is the easiest form of resistance.
And the actual strategies they use to turn their side hustle into their main hustle.
Getting back in touch with your tangible cash and sitting down and learning to give your money a job, like it changes something.
Check out Side Hustle Pro every week on your favorite podcast app and YouTube.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Hey, Yetis, this is Nick and Jack from the Best One Yet podcast. Now, the last company we worked at, they used Paylocity and everything just worked. It wasn't until launching our own media business, this show, that we realized how rare that is.
Because Paylocity is one delicious burrito of operational needs. They roll up HR, finance, and IT seamlessly into one delicious bite.
When everything wraps together like that all at once, your workforce, your tech stack, your business, you don't need more tools. You don't even need cilantro.
You need one solution.
And that is why Paylocity built a single platform to connect HR, finance, and IT with AI-driven insights and automated workflows that simplify the complex and power what's next.
Or as we call it, a delicious operational burrito.
Yes, we do. Experience a one place for all your HCM needs, besties.
So start now at Paylocity.com/one.
Paylocity.com/ONE.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bullspend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Tech Magic, the podcast where we talk about technology, innovation, spatial computing, artificial intelligence, and everything in between. We are here joined by my permanent co-host, Lee Kebler. Lee, how you doing?
I'm good. We had a great break. We were off all of August, and I don't know, I kind of had back to school jitters this morning to go back and say, okay, it's Monday. We got to record this podcast. We got to get it out by Wednesday. It kind of had that new year feel to it, even though it's just the podcast.
I felt the same way too. I was like, oh my gosh.
You were late for school.
I was late for school because you messaged me. You're like, I'm on. Because we'll record in the afternoon. Today's Labor Day. Yes, Labor Day. And you messaged me and you're like, I'm on. I'm like, you're on what? And I was like, oh no. So
I missed the bus.
They came the pool's like literally 5 minutes from my house. So yeah, ran over here and we are recording the podcast back from the break. You're back to school, late to school in my case. So anyway, fantastic summer though, but I agree with you. I feel like we need to get back into the rhythm of things. That being said, I had a few people reach out during the summer and be like, when are you guys back? Like, I need you guys in my ear. So
August felt long, didn't it? August kind of felt like a long break. It was really strange. It is going to take a little bit of dusting off the training wheels and getting back on the bike. Yeah. But no, I had a great break. We did very summer things and traveled a lot and went to the coast and the West Coast, not like the East Coast. So it was great. We've had fantastic weather and it's starting to cool down. We had some weird weather in the middle of it, but it was a perfectly fine month off. Great.
Yeah,
it was perfect.
It was great. Lots of great memories on my end, lots of time with the kids. My oldest daughter started high school about a week and a half ago. So that was like a big thing for us. I have a high schooler. I still can't believe that. So big changes and everything, but great break.
And tons of news broke over the month.
Our Slack channel was still going. Like you and I and Lily, we were still
talking.
We're still talking. Like, I know we're not recording, but check this out. So
yeah, there's a lot to cover today, and it expands across the board. There's really not a piece of the tech industry that didn't have something happen in the last month. So it'll be an interesting fall.
Yeah, which is interesting because summer you tend to like slow down a
You
little
get a
bit.
lull or something. Yeah.
But no, there was no lull. Like, technology does not sleep. Like, this is going faster than ever before. And I agree with you. I am pretty excited about the fall. Lots of things, and we're going to get into it, right? Some of the things that we're excited about, we're thinking about. I want to start with something that's happening this week out on the West Coast with our friends at Roblox. It is the Roblox Developers Conference that's happening over there. Just like Apple, just like Microsoft, just like Google, they have developers conferences. RDC, that's what people call it. It's a great event. All the top names in Roblox development are going to be there, tons of brands. I'm sure they're going to have some celebrities as well with some of the things that have been going on. So yeah, I mean, exciting moment. I know our friend Nick Hill from Sawhorse is going to be there. He's one of the people that messaged me, like, when are you guys getting back on the podcast? So shout out to Nick. Nick, we need to have you back and you need to tell us about Roblox Developers Conference. But a few things that I think we should talk about when it comes to Roblox is some new data that came out talking about how much developers make and also how international the set of developers is, not just in the US. I mean, there's a huge creator community here as well, but you're starting to see internationally, Brazil, Russia, other places as well, like lots of different creators. So that was really interesting for me to kind of look at those numbers.
It doesn't surprise me at all because Roblox, as someone who did not grow up with Roblox as a video game in their childhood, right? So that wasn't part of me growing up. I still look at Roblox very fondly because they've done a few things that I think get overlooked by the gaming community or just like people in general, but the developer community sees it. The game engine underneath Roblox is absolutely incredible. It's no means perfect. It is formed specifically for Roblox. You're not going to open Roblox engine and make a video game and put it out on Steam.
No, it's not going to happen.
Confused. That's not what this is. But they've got some things in there that don't exist anywhere else, like the ability for multiple developers to be inside the same game engine at the same time, editing, creating, placing, working together. That seamless ability for developers anywhere in the world to be inside of a game engine and make something happen is unparalleled with hardly anything else. I mean, and it works so well. When I was working in Roblox Worlds, most of my team was either on the East Coast or in Costa Rica. So the fact that we had East Coast, West Coast, and Costa Rica all inside the same game engine working at the same time, it was like magic.
And testing in real time together. It felt like that's why I always joke and I feel like it was like we were in the office, right?
Yeah,
a virtual office, but we were in there troubleshooting things. Does this work? Does this not work? Is this avatar going to do this? Is the dress going to do that? Or so, yeah, it felt like everyone was working inside Roblox together seamlessly, right?
Yeah, and there's very little out there that can pull that off as seamlessly as Roblox does. So, and this isn't a new feature. This is something they've been doing for years. It's just shocking that they do it the best. And I think in this next RDC, we're going to see more flexibility. When we were building stuff, things were not as flexible as they are now. And a lot of that comes from the progress that we've seen large brands working with Roblox. I mean, Walmart comes to mind first and foremost. They've really been able to push the boundaries of what those worlds can do, and Sawhorse as well. So I hope to see some of those things open up and become more accessible to everyone. We'll see. Conferences always come with different tools and things like that. But those are the areas where I see a lot of growth. I'll be keeping my eye on it.
Yeah, there's lots of news. Definitely lots of news. By chance, Lee, do you know the limit of how many developers can be working together in a specific instance?
Off the top of my head, I don't. It's not like 100 developers or anything like that. No. But it was significantly more than I had expected.
Well, how many did we actually have going?
For us, at one time, I would say we might have had 8 people in.
Yeah.
But that's a lot of developers building Roblox. That's a lot of people.
In one instance,
you know?
I mean, it was not even an instance because you're developing it. But
yeah, so I think the number's much higher than that. But an indie, like a small dev studio team being inside of Roblox, being able to do that spread out all over the place. And people were jumping in and out. So I don't know what the actual max number was, but it was quite liberating as a developer to be able to not have to be shipping code back and forth in emails and Dropboxes and things like that, and then waiting to see what the progress was. I could just be in there with someone working on something and go, oh yeah, that actually does look right. Let's just roll with that and push it out.
So there's been a lot of stuff happening in the Roblox side of things. There was Dress to Impress that came out last week, I think, which is kind of an experience within Roblox that's really taken over a lot of people's game time. They go in and dress, like some celebrities, Charlie XCX, and have been doing things there. Madison Beer also did kind of an outfit for Dress to Impress, which we have history with Madison, having done her virtual couture for Electric Fest. So Dress to Impress is definitely something I'm keeping my eyes on when it comes to Roblox. And I'm sure we're going to see a lot of integration with fashion, obviously, from RDC. I'll tell you what I'm most excited about from RDC. So every year, at least as far as I've been able to be a part of this community, Ed Bazuki, the CEO of Roblox, does this kind of predictions about 5 years into the future. Like he predicts things 5 years into the future. It's 20 or 25 predictions. I can't remember the exact number, but he does that every year. And it's like my favorite part of all RDC, to be honest. I mean, I love hearing about everything you can do and all the new tools and all the new things for creators. But as a futurist, I love that futuristic thinking of sitting down and thinking, well, where was this going to go, right? Because golly, I mean, 5 years, 7 years ago, Roblox was very different, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
My kids were literally just starting to play at that time. But that's my favorite part. And some of the things that he said last year, and those stayed with me, he talked about fashion designers, obviously up and coming in Roblox, which is something that we have all kind of experienced. I have that famous quote, which people quote back to me and say, the world's next Coco Chanel is probably a 10-year-old girl designing skins in Roblox. People quote that back to me all the time. He talked a lot about $1 billion business or something like that being created inside Roblox. He talked about dating as well, which is a part that I'm really interested in, looking at gaming and dating and how it all works together. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of things he's going to lay out. And he also talks about things he said in the past and where they are, like, has that happened in Roblox? So we're going to see that past, present, future.
They're in a unique situation to where they have to grow with their audience, right? So they have to mature with their audience. They kind of have to pull a Justin Timberlake here, right? And okay, they were in NSYNC, right? Every like teeny bopper loved them. So like, how do you mature with your audience?
You bring sexy back, but
how do you bring sexy back, right? Like, how do you do that? And I think that they're on a really good path to doing that. We've seen them kind of have to move things in that direction, and they've taken the necessary precautions to make sure that they do it safely as well, right? As they have kids turn into teens, turn into adults, and they're still playing these video games. And maybe that sounds weird to some people listening to this podcast, but the fact of the matter is, when I was a kid, I was introduced to Nintendo. I'm still playing Nintendo. Like, that's not going to stop. So that's the success that Nintendo had, was they grew up with their audience and they still retain the young audience at the same time. They've done a great job of that as well. That's the secret to all of this. Now, do I see other major platforms doing the same thing? Do I see Minecraft doing that? I don't really know if I even see Fortnite being able to pull that off, if I'm being completely honest. But there's a possibility there because they have such a big engine behind them. But Roblox has done something a little bit different here. And I agree. Anytime you can hear a CEO tell their 5-year vision, you can at least get a glimpse as where it's going to go.
Yeah. I'm very excited about that part of RDC. So we'll definitely look at that. Well, now I want to talk a little bit more about another event, another developers conference of sorts. Well, not really. It's not WWDC, but it's an Apple event that's coming September 9th, as we all understand it. And Apple obviously has their big event in June. They've got the September event. What do you think we're going to see, Lee? What are your thoughts? I'm excited. I mean, anything Apple, I'm going to eat it up. So yeah.
I'm not so excited about this one.
No, Debbie
really
Downer.
Not. All right. Everything that they've really pushed has had a bit of a slump. Just take the medicine because it is what it is, right? We're going to obviously hear about new iPhone stuff. That's a given. They're going to have to talk about their AI stuff.
Yeah.
But the interest in AI, that meteoric rise, has dwindled. You don't hear about it a lot anymore. And it's just because I think the average user of it has reached a point where they have hit the healthy expectation of what it is capable of doing right now. So maybe they can come out of the gate and show something else, but I don't think they will. I think they're going to kind of show more of how things are integrated in their OS, but I'm not expecting anything new because we haven't seen it arrive on our own devices yet.
That's true.
Until they do that, I don't think we're going to hear anything more. Until we see it in action, it's just not going to happen.
You don't think they were going to do like a big Siri announcement?
No. They did the Siri announcement last one.
But it wasn't really like Siri's revamp, like Siri X.
Right.
Or whatever they want to call her.
What they announced last time hasn't rolled out yet. So without that stopgap in between, it would just be like a doubled up announcement.
Yeah.
Like it wouldn't, it
more
logically
stuff that's
doesn't.
coming that you don't have access to.
Yeah. One more thing eventually, right? That's kind of what it's feeling like right now. And I don't think we're going to hear boo about the Vision Pro. I don't think they're going to say anything.
I think they're going to talk
Vision
about
Pro.
content. That's what I'm going to say.
What content?
Future content. I'm sure they're bringing stuff with Disney. I mean, I'm sure that they're going to have something up their sleeves. I'm hopeful. I remain hopeful.
All right.
We're recording on September 9th. So we might be able, depending time-wise, we might be able to kind of discuss
You saw?
what we saw.
Well, okay.
Because that's important to me.
You put your chips on black. I'm going to put my chips on red. We'll see what comes up. Okay.
Let's see, guys. Let's take the bet. I think they're going to surprise us. I think they're going to announce something and we're all going to be talking about it. And I think Vision Pro stuff, I don't think they're necessarily going to do too much, but I think they're going to talk about content partnerships. I don't think they're going to not talk about it.
If they talk about it, they're going to talk about a price cut.
Price cut? Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, price cut or version 2, or is that maybe too early? I think version 2 is probably they'll probably talk June next year.
I don't think this would be the event for them to do like a hardware announcement like that. It's just not big enough, but they may talk price. It's just too expensive. It's just kind of gatekeeped that way for what it's capable of doing in this iteration. Don't get me wrong. I still know the Vision Pro is going to evolve to what it needed to do. I wasn't a fan of the original iPhone. I've said that many times. It will see itself through. I just don't think they have a lot to say on this one unless they're going to like really open up the secret vault and tell us stuff before it leaks.
Which they won't. It's Apple.
Which they won't.
Let's be honest.
Yeah, exactly.
Not going to happen. I think we're going to see some robotics, maybe something with robotics. I mean, if NVIDIA went all in on all the robots at the end and Apple's supposed to be working on some robotic counter robot of some sort, they might talk about that. Maybe. I don't know.
I could see them going... This is a fun conversation for me because I hadn't really put a lot of thought into it because I was like, oh, it's another Apple event.
It's
They're going to tell us
always
about the next iPhone.
Lee. When you and I talk, it's always a fun conversation. Give me some credit
It's
here.
been a month, okay? It's been a while.
Get on it.
But if they're going to talk about something new, what I'd like to hear them talk about more is their server side content because they last showcase, they talked about their AI remote servers and all of this, which was like kind of their first introduction into them hosting their own form of like cloud computing and getting their processors into that side of the industry. And I felt like that was greatly overlooked by most people. But coming from former Intel, my spider senses started tingling of, oh, they're going into the cloud. This will be very interesting. So maybe we'll hear more about that. I don't know. Or maybe we'll just find out more about, their next Apple TV lineup. Because sometimes that's all we get.
They'll pull that in. I mean, it would make sense, right? Because award season, once it starts November, I could see the fall lineup preparing for season later on. That could make sense to me. So we'll have to see. So that's the Apple event, which my chips are in black, yours are in red. Let's figure out what happens on September 9th.
Now, speaking of large companies, I do want to, this happened over the break. I want to talk about Sony because this got woefully overlooked and shocked me. And it's not necessarily good news for the VR industry. It's going to sound like it, but it is a very interesting piece of information. PlayStation VR released PlayStation VR 2 a while back. And over our break during the month of August, Sony finally opened up the PlayStation VR 2 hardware to have a converter so it can connect to the PC. Meaning that the Sony PlayStation 2 VR does not require a PlayStation 5 to use it anymore.
Yeah.
I never thought I would see that day. That blew my mind. I don't know what the deciding factor of.
Why? My question is, why?
I'm excited for it because, okay, well, one, let's get the positives out of the way. PlayStation VR 2 hardware is amazing. It's very good. And it means that we finally have new PC VR hardware, which we have not had in years. I mean, we've had like startups and smaller companies, but I'm saying from like a major hardware manufacturer, we've not seen new PC VR hardware in a very long time. So that's all positive. I also really do like the headset. It's one of the most comfortable headsets on the market. Like they figured out the ergonomics of a comfortable headset, but it is a tethered VR headset. So don't get too excited. But that also means you don't have all the weight and neck strain, which we're dealing with.
I'm so over tethered now.
You know, I was too. It's not about the graphics for me. It's about the comfort. That battery weight, all of that. It's so, I still have
I think that's like a trade-off for me. Like it
is a trade-off.
I can't go back. I cannot go back.
I don't want to go back. I just want it to be lighter. But all of that aside, PC VR, which was really pushing the boundaries of what we could do because you had these massive computers that could do better graphics, has kind of taken a lull because the Quest has done so well. And the Quest does things like being able to tether wirelessly to your PC VR, which is kind of works and it works pretty well. But seeing this shift was really interesting from Sony. It also makes you wonder how well the PlayStation 2 VR hardware was selling with the PlayStation 5, a console that was at its launch very sought after and hard to get a hold of. has kind of had a little bit of a lackluster last quarter. The game selection isn't massive or exclusive. When you compare it to numbers like, there's going to be someone who says this is an unfair comparison. It really isn't. Just it is what it is. When you compare it with what Nintendo is still selling with the Switch, a tablet from 2017.
True.
It's kind of not a good sign. So am I excited to see new hardware come to the PC? Yes, absolutely. Am I shocked that it's the PlayStation VR 2 from Sony? I cannot believe it. I really can't. That is wow. But is it going to bode well for like whatever's happening over at PlayStation? I don't know. Does it mean we will not see a PlayStation VR 3? I don't think we will. I think this is kind of the nail in that coffin. Time will tell.
Time will
I've been
tell.
wrong before.
Time will tell. Time will tell.
But that was a
yeah,
big story for me when I saw that.
I know you
pop
put
up.
it in Slack. You're like, guys,
This is huge.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I
just
agree
so
with you.
weird.
It's
just so
It's
weird.
yeah, because I didn't even pay attention to it till you pointed it out. I was like, oh yeah, like I can see that. So let's go on break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about some more virtual reality news.
This message is brought to you by Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. And this is more than an ad. This is an invitation to be part of the stories the world can't stop watching, to connect with moments that dominate the conversation, to participate in culture, not just advertise around it. With the most sought-after IP, passionate audiences, and an advanced AI-powered foundation, WBD advertising transforms attention into influence and impressions into outcomes. This is innovation. This is impact. This is opportunity. This is Warner Brothers Discovery Advertising. Visit advertising.wbd.com to learn more.
Blowing ad budget on metrics that look great till the CFO sees them? That's bull spend. And marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
I remember telling my boss, it'll be good for the brand, when leads were slow. Yeah, it wasn't.
Cut the bull spend. LinkedIn lets you target by company, job title, and more. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
This message comes from Jackson. Taxes aren't something you can only think about once a year. With investments, planning for tax day is year-round. Fortunately, Jackson offers tax-efficient products. Visit jackson.com for more information on how our products can make your tax bill a little bit less painful. Jackson is short for Jackson Financial Incorporated, Jackson National Life Insurance Company, Lansing, Michigan, and Jackson National Life Insurance Company of New York, Purchase, New York.
Howdy, howdy, ho, and welcome to Fantasy Fan Fellas. I'm Hayden, producer of the Fantasy Fangirls podcast and your resident lover of all things Sanderson.
And I'm Steven, your bookish internet goofball, but you can call me the Smash Daddy.
And we are currently deep diving Brandon Sanderson's fantasy epic, Mistborn. But here's the catch. Steven here has not read Mistborn before.
That's right, hey. So each week, you'll get my unfiltered, raw reactions to every single chapter.
And along the way, we'll do character deep dives, magic explainers, and Steven will even try to guess what's next. Spoiler alert, he'll be wrong.
Newsflash, I'm never wrong. Episodes come out every Wednesday, and you can find Fantasy Fan Fellas wherever you get your podcasts.
All right, Lee. Lots of other news coming from Meta, both on the AR and the VR front. So I'll start with the VR side, and then we'll go to AR, and you'll lead that one because I feel like you're a little bit closer to that than I am. But there was news that came out. I'm not sure how reliable this is, but about Meta is rumored to have canceled their next high-end VR headset, which is the Quest Pro 2, apparently, or at least that was the name people were thinking. So very interesting. That was supposed to be kind of a competitor in some ways to the Vision Pro. At least that's what I've read.
Right. We had the Quest Pro come out and it didn't have a great reception. It was $1,500, which is still a fraction of the price of what the Vision Pro comes out with. And it was the first introduction to pancake lenses. It looked really good. It was a little uncomfortable depending on your head shape because they went for this very rigid form factor. Some people thought it was the most comfortable heads they've ever worn. I was not in that camp.
Yeah.
And they made some weird design decisions on how it worked. They made leaps and bounds with controllers, hand tracking. It's the only Meta headset that has eye tracking built into it. So there was a lot of stuff that they were experimenting with that justified the cost increase. And still, when you compare it to $3,500 for a Vision Pro, it's a steal at $1,500. I've got one. I still have mine just because I sometimes want to experiment with development for like eye tracking, facial tracking. It's the easiest way to do it.
And for enterprise, right?
And for enterprise. Yeah.
I feel like this was geared towards work, enterprise, much more that type of audience.
Yes, it was. It was because it was all rechargeable. It had a docking station, controllers, all that. So all the things that enterprise needed to be able to hot swap between users was there. And it wasn't a poorly designed headset. Now, that being said, there were things that at the last moment were removed from it, like LiDAR tracking in the front that made its spatial tracking not as good. And it is something that the Vision Pro does better. I think the rumor is, and I have no way to affirm this, but the rumor is that was removed at the last minute to make sure they hit production deadlines. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a cost saving factor. Who knows? That it probably needed it.
Yeah.
Then they were going to talk about the Quest Pro 2. There was an announcement for that coming out. A lot of speculation. Okay, they've got to compete with the Vision Pro. And my understanding, and this is all rumor mill and conjecture because no one's ever going to admit the quiet part out loud, is that they were shocked at how the adoption was low for the Vision Pro. And maybe it's just not where they need to put their attention. And if that's the case, if that is true, and again, that's all speculation, rumor. If that's true, I think it's the right call because is a lot of information pointing to the release of what will be called the Quest 3S. At least that's the current like working name for it, which is a less expensive Quest 3. That would be huge. If they can make a Quest 3 at the $299 marker. I was having dinner with someone in this industry over break, and we were talking about all of these like weird shifts that we're seeing in the hardware. And the realization, and I'm gonna sound like a Nintendo fanboy this episode, which is fine because I definitely am.
You are, come on.
But the realization I think that's happening slowly, and maybe they have or haven't put in the words yet, is that the Quest headset is not competing with the Vision Pro. It's competing with the Nintendo Switch.
Wow. Huh. Okay. I don't know. Yes and no. I get it, but I don't.
If you look at where they are selling units, and who is asking for it under the Christmas tree, right? If you look at who's asking for it for the birthday present, if you're looking at the people who are not utilizing it for like development or wanting to take it to work or things like that, trying to make something like that. And if you look at the store of what's selling, where they are making money is they're competing with the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah.
It's a portable gaming device that a specific generation is obsessed with. And they can take on the go and they can go play in their virtual worlds. It's a different way of doing it, but it ticks a lot of those same boxes. They're not even competing with the PlayStation in the PlayStation VR because you're tethered to your desktop computer at home, right? This is an on the go. I've been out camping in the middle of the forest and seen kids playing.
We take our Switches everywhere.
But the Quest 2, I've seen kids out camping with the Oculus Quest, the Meta Quest, and that was when it clicked. Oh, this is a portable gaming device. This is their Game Boy. This is their Sega Game Gear. That's quite interesting.
Really interesting perspective. Yeah. Huh.
You know, and so I think that's a big part of it. And if they are going to shift their focus to, can we make this competitive price-wise? $299 for a Quest 3?
$299 is great. I mean, that is a different price point. I could see tons of people, this is going to go under the Christmas tree. So I'm supposed to be at Meta Connect. I got invited. I'm supposed to be there at the end of September. And I'm sure we're going to hear, I mean, they probably have hardware news, tons of AI news. So we'll see. We'll see. I want to move us away from the conversation on the Quest and talk more about AR and kind of what's happening over on that side with Meta. I'll start by saying this. I do think at Meta Connect, we are going to hear tons of announcements on AR hardware. I love my Meta Ray-Ban sunglasses. I think they're the best thing since sliced bread, and maybe not that term, but I think they're fantastic. They let me have a sense of presence where I'm not necessarily living through a phone. I'm kind of just recording through my glasses. I love how it makes me feel more present. From a privacy perspective, I mean, there's a lot we talked about, but I think we're going to see a lot of AI news from Meta. We're going to see a lot of AR-related news to hardware, glasses, all those sorts of things. That being said, they made an announcement last week that sent shockwaves across the community. And I'm going to let you take this one because you're a lot closer to that, to working inside that.
Shockwaves is a good way of describing it because it was completely caught everyone off guard. So Meta has invested in a system called Spark, which kind of functions like a game engine. Think of it as like their version of a video game engine, right? And it was originally tooled to do all of their Instagram filters. So when you were doing all of the funny Instagram filters for like face filters and things like that, that was all done in Spark. And it was kind of called Spark AR or whatever. And they took that, and if you go back a couple of announcements ago, they made a big push of we're going to retool this engine, and we're going to utilize it to make these augments that lived in your space. And when you put on your Quest headset and you could see the world around you, there would be AR implemented tools that were either like you could listen to music or you could go do this or whatever. And I worked for a studio that focused solely on producing that. And there are a lot of studios that got spun up to produce these augments because someone has to build them. The announcement was on August 27th that Meta just said, yeah, we're kind of done with Spark as a platform and its third-party tools, and we're no longer going to leave any of this available effective January 14th. It's not that they deprecated it. It's not going to be available. So when you're going to just take the entire platform away and make it not available, I don't even know why you wait until January 14th. Like what people, there's nothing to wrap up at that point because whatever you build on it just will not exist. This is shocking across the board, not just for people who were building these things in headsets, but for people who were building Instagram filters. What does this mean for the future of Instagram filters? I have no idea. That's kind of a big deal. That was their big competitive push with Snapchat, and it worked. Like, it was successful. So yeah, they're making a paradigm shift. This is not Meta leaving the idea of AR.
No.
Let me be clear.
Yes. No.
Because as someone who worked in the Spark engine, had a lot of things lacking.
Mm-hmm.
And we were expecting a lot, like it was going to take a lot to get it to where we needed it to be to do the things that we could see the future of AR being. So I can't even say that I'm upset by this, but it is shocking. And I know that there are small creative studios, production studios, and agencies across the world who are just, whoa, that was what we were doing.
We know people, both of you and I know people that have made businesses out of using this tool.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I was like, wow.
So hopefully in their next announcements, they lean into this, explain it a little bit more, and provide a path forward. I'm really hoping that it's not a, hey, we're not going to do this, and then we're not going to tell you what we're going to do after, because it's not like they're not going to do it, right? So they've got to do something. Now, maybe they have a partnership with an already self-sustaining engine. That's what Apple did.
True. But here's my prediction. And I don't know. This is just me, like, thinking through this and thinking, what could this be about? I think that they're going to roll in AI and AR creation into something that they're going to announce. Because I feel like the glasses and the AI and the multimodal world, it's kind of where they're going with hardware, and it's all going to combine in some way. So I don't even know what that looks like, right? But I know it's not Spark AR.
I agree, but it's just a question of what engine is that built in, right? Mm-hmm. And so that's the part. I totally agree. I think I'm really hopeful that the next iteration of Ray-Bans has in lenses text. I don't need full AR.
Yeah, not yet. That's not possible just yet at the level that we wanted.
But if we can get closed captioning in lens projection, that's all I really actually want. The ability to, just to be able to translate languages when someone else is speaking a different language. The ability for people who have lost hearing to have instant closed captioning to the environment around them. There are so many valuable things of just getting words inside of the lenses. And I'm hoping that we see that in the next iteration of Ray-Bans. I'm going to be very disappointed, because it'll be like the third go around and we're like, when are you putting something in the lenses? Come on, let's get something in the lenses.
I think they're going to wow us, because everything I hear, at least what I'm reading between the lines from when I hear from Mark Zuckerberg in interviews or Andrew Bosworth, about them showing some type of prototype of glasses to people and people just being in awe. I feel like there's got to be something there. It kind of reminds me of the early days of Magic Leap, when people would come in and try it super secretively and they would just walk away in like complete awe. I think they're going to wow us at MetaConnect.
I'm impressed with them as a company, to be totally honest, because they have stayed above and beyond, not only on like their hardware, but like they've pushed the entire industry forward. whether people want to dog on Facebook or not, or all the political back and forths, whatever, remove all of that from the conversation for a moment and just look at what they've done from hardware perspective. There's not another company, including Apple, who has done this. Like, they've done it. And that's shocking for a company that was basically a competitor for MySpace.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's interesting that you mentioned that, because to me, when I think of Meta, because of the way you and I have worked in this industry for years, when I think of Meta, I think of Reality Labs, and I'm thinking of what they're doing in that space. I don't even think about the Facebook side and the Meta side. I mean, obviously, that's a big part. But like, when I'm thinking about where their innovation is, what they're doing, right? My mind goes to Reality Labs. And I know you and I know tons of people that work there that are doing amazing work, that are truly trying to make the impossible possible. So yeah, I do think sometimes we do have to kind of divorce the conversation a little bit, right? Especially you and I seem to do that really well, compartmentalize that. Yeah. Like, we're talking about Reality Labs, you were talking about kind of what they're doing in that space. So yeah, I'll be on Connect. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of stuff to talk about when I'm there, and hopefully get some demos, and we'll see. But I think they're gonna surprise us. I think you and I agree that Meta's gonna bring us some interesting things. I think you and I disagree on Apple's event and where the chips may land there. So we will have to see at the next episode, right?
I hope I'm wrong.
I don't know.
I don't think I am.
I don't know. I think you're going to be like, I was right.
Yeah, I kind of think I might be.
We'll see what happens. Everyone's taking notes, please. Score points here. But anyway, it's been great to have you back, my permanent co-host. It's been good to get back into the groove of things here at Tech Magic. And we'll be back next week. There's no dispatch from the Fringe because Lily's still on vacation. So yeah, thank you so much for joining me, Lee.
We'll see you then.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for Tech Magic. We will be back next week. Please share this podcast and let us know what you think. Thank you. Bye.
Are your ad campaigns lighting up the dashboard, but not the pipeline? That's bullspend, and marketers are calling it out in Dashboard Confessions.
My boss asked for results, so I opened my dashboard for the only positive-sounding metric I had: impressions.
Cut the bull spend. See revenue, not just reach. LinkedIn delivers the highest return on ad spend of major ad networks. Advertise on LinkedIn. Spend $250 on your first campaign and get a $250 credit. Go to linkedin.com/campaign. Terms and conditions apply.
Acast powers the world's best podcasts. Here's a show that we recommend.
What if you laughed all through your commute? Or if you heard the funniest story while at the gym? Well, now you can. I'm Jamila Jamil, and guests on my new podcast, Wrong Turns, share their most mortifying and hilarious disaster stories. I'm talking people like Mae Martin, Bob the Drag Queen, Catherine Ryan, Jake Johnson, Margaret Cho, Simon Pegg, Penn Badgley, and so many more. So listen wherever you get your podcast, Wrong Turns, where dignity goes to die.
Acast helps creators launch, grow, and monetize their podcasts everywhere. Acast.com.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.